Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today, we're going to talk about Polkadot and its native token DOT. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. We also do have the sale on the premium list. Make sure you check that out in the description below as well, into thecryptoverse.com. Let's go ahead and jump in. So DOT today is trading for $28. And over the last few months, DOT has not performed quite as well as some of the other layer ones that we've looked at. All right, but I would still argue that over the macro scale, we generally are putting in higher lows. All right, and really, it seems to be culminating in this slow uptrend up to around the $50 to $60 range. Right, and you can imagine that if we were to extend this out, it could be a while. Even if Bitcoin stays relatively bullish, which I hope that it does, it could still be quite a while before DOT is able to get back up to these levels. We could be talking about Q1 or Q2 of 2022. Now, you should know the bull market support band for DOT now is from like $32 to $35, and so we are sitting just below it. But as we always know, the key test to any altcoin is to make sure that it's doing relatively okay with regards to its Bitcoin valuation and with regards to its Ether valuation. And, if we go over to the Bitcoin valuation, it seems like it's at least an oscillator, okay? And it might be in an uptrend, but it's too early to say, all right? So it could be in a potential uptrend here. But we also know that, depending on how you look at it, you could argue that it's an oscillator as well. So at the very least, Polkadot is an oscillator against Bitcoin, and we're waiting to see if it can actually have a sustained rally and ultimately break to new highs. Now, in the sense of lengthening cycles, I would argue that we still have plenty of time, quite a long ways to go, and I do anticipate DOT in a general uptrend against at least the US dollar and hopefully Bitcoin as well. And again, you can see the DOT started off down here at around $4 or so. It came down and put in another a higher low at around $10. And now we came up to around $24, $25. Hopefully we'll see this continue to move up. But of course, the thing that we have to look at and keep a close eye on is the DOT Ether valuation. Now, the key test of a good altcoin is that over the macro scale, at the very least, it's an oscillator against Ethereum. If it cannot oscillate against Ethereum, then what's the point? You're taking on more risk for less reward. So there still is hope here that DOT could in fact be an oscillator against ETH, but it's too early to say yet. You can see that we are sort of sweeping some of the lows that we tested back in mid-July. All right, so ideally speaking, we would like to not go below this level, because then we might be looking at a potential downtrend of the DOT Ether valuation, which was something, of course, that we would like to avoid. So I would say it's a pretty important test right now over the next few weeks to see if DOT can hold the line here against its Ether valuation. Now, do remember that we were actually not far from these levels around a year ago, and it wasn't until early January that the DOT valuation against Ether finally took off, and especially against the US dollar as well. So, if there is some seasonality to it, we would be gearing up for that phase again, potentially, where we can see DOT rally against Ethereum. So we have a little bit of ways to go to see what's going to happen, because you can see we are again testing these bottoms, and a lot of times when we test these bottoms, it can go on for a couple of months. So, I would sort of anticipate some type of long test around this region, and let's see if DOT can continue to prove that it's an oscillator and not a bleeder against Ethereum. All right, so that will be a key thing for Polkadot to prove. Until then, I hope that DOT remains in the uptrend and we'll ultimately see it break out to new all-time highs as we get further into 2022. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. Remember to check out intothecryptoverse.com, lock in the low rate on the premium list. And we also do have Into the Cryptoverse t-shirts. If you use the code Happy Holidays, you will get 20% off at store.intothecryptoverse.com. Thank you for tuning in, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.